What's going on, traders? Andrew O'Connell here with Pristine Capital, coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is February 17th, 2022. Please go ahead, click the like button on this video. Also subscribe to my channel if you're enjoying this content. All right, today we're going to talk about the action in the indices, and we're going to talk about a potential character change in the markets. We'll also talk about some of my trades for the day. Before we do that, quick risk disclaimer: nothing in the video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan and your own risk parameters. And last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account to any one of my trades or anyone's trades for that matter. All right, so what do we got here? Headline indices. Oh man. S&P 500 down 2.14%. Nasdaq QQQ down almost 3, down 2.97%. We had the small caps down 2.56%. Dow Jones lagging to the downside, only down 1.71%. And we had the ARK Innovation ETF absolutely sparked, down 6.44%. It's pretty crazy. The S&P 500 average annual return is somewhere between 6 and 7%. And this ARK Innovation ETF, in like a single day, it'll be up or down 6 or 7. It's pretty crazy. Breadth was pretty horrible, and it was like that from the very start of the session. So let's dive in here. Look at our heat map. Let's assess this damage. We had consumer defensives that were very strong, and let me just take this off real quick. It's making like a dinging noise every headline that comes out. There we go. Okay, so we had consumer defensives very strong, but other than that, look at this weakness. We have the narrative of the Fed tightening, so them raising rates and them potentially rolling off the balance sheet. And now we have this Russia war narrative that the Biden administration, this is their new thing, that Russia is going to invade Ukraine, and Russia keeps saying we're not going to do that. And the United States pretty much keeps saying, yes, you are. And who really knows? I certainly don't know who's right on that. But a lot of people are saying that, it's basically like a method for the administration to kind of like divert away from some of these issues at home. Either way, my baseline assumption is that there's not going to be like a crazy world war, but we're just still seeing these crazy reactions. So we did have some bad headlines overnight, like saying there were some like mortar strikes in the Ukraine. And this morning, pretty much like clockwork, like every 10 minutes there was a headline about Russia potentially invading Ukraine. Originally, the Biden administration said that they were going to be doing this on Wednesday, which was yesterday. And now they've moved the goalpost that it's going to happen, I believe it was like next Thursday or within a couple days. So yeah, we're just getting tape bomb after tape bomb. So we had Apple down, Microsoft. Nvidia reported earnings and was down almost 8% on the session, down 7.5%. All these semis got blown up. Tesla down 5.09%. Really only standouts in this market, we had gold miners, which were up 3.76%. We had utilities basically flat, staples up 0.74%. You can see energy was only down 0.2%. KWeb, this one was pretty strong early on in the day. It was nice and positive. Then the overall weakness of the market really took this one down. But overall, we're seeing gold miners, energy, cannabis, and China in our top momentum slots. Style factors. Look at this. The high beta style factor was down 2.99%. And we had the momentum style factor, wow, down 3.39%. That's a huge move. So yeah, what I had noticed is over the past couple days, even on days when we had sell-offs, I was like, oh, this isn't really that bad. The small caps are leading. The ARK Innovation ETF is leading as well. Like, everything looked pretty good. Hey, Bitcoin is strong. There's a lot of positive divergences, even on the weekdays in the market. Today, I just noticed right from the very jump, this is a little bit different. We're having Bitcoin lead the downward action. We're having ARK leading the downward action. This looks a lot more risk off. And the other thing that I noticed right off the jump is that the VIX was not playing around today. Check out the VIX. So the VIX, finished up at 28.11, which again, it's a lower high, but we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. Tomorrow's options expiration, and I hate it when we go into options expiration and the market's already on its back foot and it's already very weak. That is a potentially very bad configuration, and sometimes we get these big spills into OPEX. Excuse me. My trend model did flip negative. It flipped to a -3. That's also another component of my process that told me, hey, you can't really play around here. Wow, and even after hours, the market's just still getting smoked. So, yeah, noticed a lot of those divergences, if you could call them that, or really just like confirmations of the weakness. Elevated VIX, all the top risk assets are underperforming. And look at what happened. We essentially bearish engulfed 2 days of bullish action, and we just could not for the life of us maintain price above that 20-day simple moving average. Even on the days when it seemed like, hey, nothing can stop us, we had a volatile day, but we closed above, we just can't manage to stay above. My big concern, and a reason why I took today pretty seriously, was I know some people might say, hey, it's just the Russia-Ukraine headlines, like, who cares? Those are going to get reversed. There's going to be no war, so it's all good. But I was beginning to think during this session that might be like the headline and like the reason everyone attributes to the sell-off, but we don't know for sure if that's the actual reason. And when I see all these risk assets selling off simultaneously, to me it just looks like, hey, this is risk-off action. We can't really fully attribute this to one specific thing. So yeah, it's tough to just say, oh, it was Russia, no worries. Let's take a look at our Nasdaq. And the Nasdaq, this pattern also pretty much got blown up. Look at this. So we're trading below this monthly value area low again. And we're trading pretty much down to the low. We're actually shy of it from where we were just a few trading sessions ago. Russell 2000, this was the one where it was like, hey, it looks like there could be some accumulation going on here. Not the worst thing in the world. We did remain above our monthly point of control, which is good. And we did remain above this 20-day simple moving average. So that's also good. But we just almost bearish engulfed. Again, 2 days of good price action on higher volume. So yeah, tough to really just be like, okay, I'm buying the dip, you know, whatever, no big deal. I'll have to see what happens. I mean, we could get a headline tonight that says, oh, we do have evidence that the Russians are moving back, and we could find ourselves with a 1% gap higher tomorrow. For all we really know, it could certainly happen. Let's take a look. Our Dow Jones also pretty much broke its pattern and looks a little bit unhealthy to the downside. Look as well at ARK. This one looked like, hey, maybe this thing is kind of like wedging up. You know, we're making a series of, you know, basically higher lows and maybe equivalent highs. Looks like we're getting some sort of like ascending triangle. We just completely broke that pattern to the downside today. So again, maybe this is just some panic in the market, but my trend following process is saying like, you know, the trend just broke for a lot of these risk assets that were rallying since January 26th. And again, there's a lot of different, you know, factors that are playing into this, but it's just, it might be the culmination of all these factors where people are just going, I've had it. Like, I'm throwing in the towel. This, you know, this market is forsaken. All right, let's take a look here at some of my trades for the day. And so as I started to notice this during the session, I did pare back some risk. So from 10:06, I closed out the remainder of my rows for a small winner, basically a scratch. I was able to take a target higher on a third of my position. I was like, you know what, something doesn't really look right here. Also closed out my snap. This is a roll trade of a prior nice winner that I had. I closed that one out. And then I closed out my BITO, which is the Bitcoin futures ETF, for basically a scratch. Made like 3 pennies on it. So yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to play around with this because we don't really know what tomorrow's going to bring. And what makes this environment difficult is that, again, tomorrow could be just a beautiful gap up. But it's always important, especially for me, to just prioritize the risk management. One thing I did do, I added to my KWeb May 20th 37 spot 42 calls for $4.40, and I am liking the pattern that's developing here in KWeb. And yeah, we didn't get a close on the highs for KWeb, but it really looked like up until the weakness just consumed the market, KWeb was trying to make a move to the upside. So yeah, added to that, I attempted a day trade in SPY, ended up closing it out for a small winner, basically like a scratch. That was at 1036. I tried again at 211, took a small loss on a day trade, and that was about it. So yeah, in terms of options, I was like, I'm not gonna really play around in this. Today overall, other than taking down some exposure, was a pretty, I'd say, an active day for me. So yeah, heading into OPEX, I honestly think it's just like, expect the unexpected. Like, who really knows? When the VIX is this elevated, you know, when we're at a 28 like this, all it's going to take is one headline overnight, good or bad, to either flip us into the abyss and flip the S&P 500 all the way down to, you know, maybe the bottom of this downward trend line, or even this monthly value area low here at 4309, or we could get a good headline and boom, right up at these key moving averages. So I think that's really like the tough part about swing trading in this environment, where there's just a lot of headlines hitting the tape. In terms of options activity today, we did see elevated put buying, which is good, but it wasn't like convincingly good. So check this out. Maybe this is just me getting like super bearish, but look at this. The put to call ratio was above a 1, which is good. That's an elevated put to call ratio. But there were other days when the market really freaked out, where this thing was at like a 1.3. Granted, that's like extreme. This is still elevated. And then on the options front, yeah, let's take a look at what we got here real quick. Let's check out the damage. Just give me 1 sec. I'm pulling up my VigTech. All right, and here is our options matrix. Let's take a look at our TradeScape. And again, you know, this is options expiration week, so it's kind of tough to really discern much here. Yeah, a bunch of SPX calls going up. Tesla, mixture of calls and puts. So it's not even, people aren't even getting that bearish. SPY, a lot of hedges going up, which is good. A lot of stuff going up for February 18th. And then we got March 18th as well. We got Facebook, mixture of calls and puts, seeing some heavy put activity in here. Amazon, this one has been trying to hold up pretty well, and this is a mixture of calls and puts. Yes, we're seeing a mixed bag here. What about Nvidia? Let's take a look at Nvidia as well. This was another key factor here. So yeah, mixture. Looks like a lot of BTFDers going on over here. Let's see. So Nvidia, and this is where we'll leave off the video. Nvidia still looks overall like it's intact. Had a nasty day to the downside, down 7.51%, but we're still in this sort of like trend channel here, and this is one of the stronger, you know, really one of the leaders that has to advance if the market wants to advance. We did hold the 20-day moving average, which is good, but we got to see what happens tomorrow. I think it's good to see that this one didn't just like fall out of this channel. So yeah, a lot of questions heading into tomorrow. Tomorrow's options expiration week. So yeah, best of luck to everyone. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you all tomorrow.